Hi there. Thanks for joining me. My name is Burt, Vice President of the California Family Council. This video is for anyone interested in learning more about lobbying. I want to give you a simple overview of how it works and why it matters. I've represented the California Family Council at the state capitol for nearly a decade. Before that, I worked for both federal and state legislators who spoke to lobbyists every day. It was part of our job. And through those experiences, I have seen firsthand what an impact lobbying can have on the laws being considered and passed on your behalf. Here in California, lawmakers introduce thousands of bills every year. At the California Family Council, it is my job to stand up for those biblical values, advance God's design for life, family, and liberty, and then help you to do the same. Your elected representatives are supposed to represent your views as they consider these bills. But before they vote, they need to hear from you. They need to understand what you think, why you care, why these laws affect you personally, how they affect your family, and how they affect your community. And that's what lobbying is all about. Now, there are three options that we provide to folks that we help. You can come down to the Capitol and we have lobby days where you can actually get a little training from us. We'll give you information about bills and we'll go over there to the legislative office building where all the staff and legislators are working hard every day, and you meet with them in their offices. You can just show up. And so we're going to teach you how to do that. But you can also go to your legislative offices in your own district. Every state senator and state assembly member, they have offices in your community where you can go visit them. And legislators are there every Friday. So that's another option. You don't have to come all the way to Sacramento. The other option is to use our Action Center on our website where you can make phone calls, send emails, or even post tweets online about particular bills that your legislators will pay attention to. So why don't we start with, if you are considering coming to the Capitol, here's what we encourage you to do. Before you even come, make sure you go on our events page, which is on our website, and we can show you where that is, and make sure you register. When you register, we're able to keep in contact with you, tell you about where our training is, and actually give you information about the bills that we will be talking about with our legislators. We have a bunch of them. We call them lobby sheets, where it explains the bill, and it's actually something you can leave with your legislators so they know exactly what you think about these bills, right? But also, we want you to find out before you come who your legislators are. Like, many people are confused between their members of Congress, which represent you at the federal government, and their state representatives. You have a state senator and a assembly member, right? And all you got to do is Google this little phrase, find your California representatives, and it'll pop up this website and you type in your address and it'll tell you who your legislators are. If you find out ahead of time before you come, that's a big help. And then also try and read up on these bills that we are going to be lobbying on. When you register, we will send you an email and a list of the bills that we are for or against. And so if you come a little bit prepared, that helps you out. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about the legislature itself. Maybe you learned this in school already, but in California, we have an assembly with 80 members, and we have a Senate with 40 members. Everybody has a senator and an assembly member. And as you probably know, thousands of bills are introduced. Each legislator gets to introduce bills, and they either start in the assembly. And how they start is you introduce one, and then it's assigned to a committee, and they have public hearings in these committees. And then those legislators on that committee, you have to get a majority of those members to vote for your bill for it to progress to the next level. Now, it could go to another committee, or it could go right to the Senate floor or the assembly floor. That's where everybody gets to vote on it, right? And then once it goes through one house and it's approved, then it goes to the other house, and the same process happens. And as you know, if it can get through both houses and to the governor's desk for final approval, he's the one that decides whether it becomes a law or not. And that's the full process. If these bills are introduced, we want to go to legislators before they hear them and try and influence the way they vote, right? And so I would encourage you to wear, at least business casual clothes as opposed to shorts and t-shirts. Most people are dressed up at the Capitol. And you also bring along the lobby sheets that we'll provide for you to each of the offices. You could also bring along a camera to take a picture afterwards when you have your meeting, right? But the meetings themselves, make sure you're gracious with these staffers. Most of the time, You can ask for a meeting with the legislator, but mostly you're going to meet with staffers. And most of the time, we don't have appointments for these. And you just show up and say, hey, can I talk to somebody about the particular bill? And I'm your constituent, right? And they want to hear from constituents. And so someone will come out. You got to keep these meetings short. Don't expect more than 15 minutes, with a staffer, and even less if you get to meet with an actual legislator. And be specific. Tell them what exactly you want them to do. It's great to tell a particular personal story about how this particular bill is going to affect you or your family, and give them real life examples. They love stories, right? How this personally going to affect you. And if you don't know how to answer something, say you'll follow up with them. And then after the meeting, make sure you get the card, a business card of anybody you talk to. And then make sure you try and follow up with them afterwards. The points of this meeting is not to be a one-time show up and then you'll never talk to them again. You want to create an ongoing relationship with your representative, and so they know who you are, right? So when you call them back, they go, "Oh yeah, I remember you," right? And they know, and that gives you greater influence with them, right? And so now this is the same thing you do if you go to a local district office, which you can find on each legislator's website. And I would encourage you to call ahead of time, see if you can make an appointment, ask to speak with the legislator. They are there every Friday, and sometimes it's easier to actually meet a legislator if you go to the district office, right? Because they get really busy at the Capitol, but they got more free time when they're in their own office. And if you can't do any of that, please go to California Family Council's Action Center. We make this very easy. We have a bunch of bills we're for and against, and you click on a button, type in your particular address. We will connect you with your senator or your assembly member, depending on where the bill is. We'll give you talking points on what you can say when you make a phone call. Or if you don't want to do that, we have a letter that we've already written that you can adjust and personalize, which you can a click of a button you can send by email. And then we have several tweets, social media posts where you can post what your feelings are about a particular bill, and we tag the legislator in that, and then they get to hear online, where everybody's watching, what you think about those bills. So that is a basic overview of lobbying. I hope that was helpful. You can always go on our website and make sure you register. Our contact information is on there. And so I would just encourage you to make this part of your civic duty, really. We all think about voting. Yes, we all need to vote. But the next step is, hey, I need to get involved more and have an influence on what my legislators do once I vote for them, right? We don't just want to look at all this stuff they're doing every 2 years when it comes to voting. So I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much. If you got any questions, you can always call us or email us. God bless.